is Wednesday, November the 4th. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my daily thought. All right, let me get some of the social media stuff out the way first. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Twitter, on Instagram. Facebook.com/KIRWKC. If you are watching this on YouTube or Dailymotion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, followed by the notification bell. That will let you know when I upload new videos. Okay, so where to start? And I'm not looking to make this long, actually, because I have some other things I need to take care of. But I'm going to cover two things, but first I'll take a sip of my tea, which, by the way, I bought me a little pitcher. I should have shown you the picture too, but anyways, for my hibiscus tea, I finally bought me a pitcher because I'm like, okay, well, I'm drinking more hibiscus tea and all that other stuff. Let me get a pitcher that I like. And I found one that I liked, and it came probably 2 days ago, I think, something like that. And I was like, okay, finally, I got around to washing it yesterday. And after I washed it, I did like 4 tea bags, and then I poured, I think, 4 bottles of water in there. It held 4 bottles of water. So yeah, so here I am with this tea. Yeah, I probably should have done 1 more tea bag. It doesn't have enough of a kick to it. It's okay, but I like for it to be a little bit more tart. So that was me testing my pitcher of tea for the first time on camera, and also on podcast for those who are listening. Oh yeah, so I had ordered some other stuff too. Now, I promised you guys that when I got my shoes, I would do the reveal. For those who are watching the videos, for those who are listening to the podcast, you can always go and watch the video and then see what I'm talking about, but I will still describe what I'm talking about when I do this, but I have to tell the story behind this. All right, so my package was supposed to be delivered yesterday, and FedEx, and I love FedEx, so let me make that very clear. This is just one of these things that it didn't quite come together. So FedEx, the driver attempted and couldn't get in the building because with our building, it's hard to access right now. And there's a whole nother story behind it with the door and everything else. But long story short, FedEx driver couldn't get in the building. All right. So I was just like, hey. Now, before that, I had went to the FedEx building because I don't live far from there. And I was just like, oh yeah, I don't live far from here. I just want to stop in. Is there any way I could just grab the package right quick? And she was like, oh, well, no, you can't do that because you didn't set it aside the day before, which is understandable. I used to work in shipping for UPS eons ago. So I understand how it works. I just know that FedEx is a little bit more flexible than UPS, which is one reason why I like them more than UPS when it comes to shipping. So I went back home, and she had said while I was there, she said it'll be after 12. And I was like, okay, cool, after 12. So I came back home, and sure enough, something told me to check the package to see where it was at. So I tracked the package around 2 something-ish. And sure enough, he attempted at 12 something. So it was right after 12 that he attempted to drop the package off but couldn't access the building, yada, 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 whatever. So I called FedEx, and I was just like, hey, the driver just stopped by here. Instead of him just making a trip when I don't live that far from you guys, just set the package aside, and I'll just stop by and pick it up. You know, whenever he gets back, whenever the truck gets back to the building, I can pick it up tonight or pick it up tomorrow, however, whatever. And the young lady I was speaking with, she was like, oh, we can't do that for this package. I was like, wait, what? She's like, we can't do that for this package. I'm like, I've picked up packages from FedEx before. All I've done is call and ask them to hold it, and then I just go and do it. I go and pick it up. And she's like, no, the shipper has said that the package has to be delivered. And I'm like, wait a minute. When you go inside of FedEx, you have to show your ID to show who you are. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I'm getting 5. Make it make sense, because I'm lost here. She's like, no, because that's how the shipper has it set up. I'm like, well, you have the shipper's information. Get Neiman Marcus on the phone and do that. Well, we can't call the shipper. I'm like, so you can't do a 3-way call. See, this is an example of bad customer service. Good customer service would have said, you know what? One moment, please. Let me go ahead and get the shipper on the phone. That's what good customer service is. And she's like, oh, I can't do that. But you have to have the shipper contact us and tell us that it's okay for the package to be held at the center. I'm like, thank you, click. So I called Neiman Marcus customer service. First person I got, their phone line was messed up, which I think it was meant to be, because I can read people's energy right off of the first few seconds of interacting with them to know what I'm about to deal with. And I'm not saying that you should always have preconceived notions in your head all the time. It's just I'm pretty good at reading energy and reading people. So as soon as this rep answered, I was like, this might be an interesting phone call. And they said their name, and I was like, what was your name again? Just to make sure I had it correctly, because I want to keep notes and write everything down. And then the call started fading out, and there was some type of technical issues with the call. And then I was saying, hello, hello, hello. Then the person wasn't saying anything, so I hung up. Called back, got a lovely rep, and I explained the situation to her. And I said, why is Neiman Marcus saying that the package can't be held at the center? And she said, well, that's because you selected to have it delivered. I was like, yeah, but the driver missed me the first time. So I said, just to skip a second time attempt and know that I will get it for sure, just hold it at the center. And she said, well, usually Neiman Marcus doesn't do that, because whatever you select at that time, that's what you're supposed to. Basically, that's what you are stuck with. So if you select to pick it up in the store, you pick it up in the store. If you select to have delivery, you have delivery. Select to have it held at FedEx Center, you have it held at FedEx Center. It's pretty much whatever you select at the time, that's what you're stuck with. I didn't know that, because usually it's been one or the other. Either I would pick it up at the store, which is also not far from me, the Neiman Marcus store, which is not open now, or it gets delivered, and I don't have any issues. So I was like, okay. Well, is there any way that you can tell FedEx to let me go ahead and pick up the package? And she said, yeah, but you have to hold on, because my supervisor has to send them the email to do that. All right, fine. I held on for a minute or two. She said, all right, you're good to go. And you can pick up the package tomorrow morning. I said, well, I'll more than likely pick it up in the afternoon. And she said, totally fine. It'll be at the center. Well, I check my phone this morning, because I'm like, okay, let me check the tracking number just to see what the status of the package is. The status of the package, based off of the tracking number, said being held at the center, or at the facility. whatever, tomato, tomato. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'll be going there around lunchtime to just swing on by, get my shoes, and call it a day. All right. So then I hear a knock on my door. I'm like, okay, well, I'm expecting stuff from Amazon today. I'm expecting like three packages because I'm always ordering stuff from Amazon. So I was like, all right. And I see this box in front of my door. And I'm looking at the box. I'm like, this does not look like the comforter, like it can hold a comforter. Even though it said in the description, and that was the other thing too that I didn't get. For the comforter that I ordered, it was like, you probably want to dry it with a tennis ball to make it fluffy because it's vacuum sealed and all of this stuff. Yada, 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 yada. It's like the thick comforter or whatever. And it may not be thick because it's vacuum sealed. So dry it on low in the dryer with a tennis ball. Like I have a tennis ball just lying around somewhere. But these are minor details. So I'm looking at this box and I'm like, this just doesn't look like a comforter and some sheets. I was like, maybe this is the sheets because I ordered some new sheets too. I got some really, really nice sheets. I was like, yeah, because I'd seen them. I was like, oh, I want those. So I was like, maybe these are the sheets. So I start opening the box and I'm looking and I'm like, wait a second. This looks like my shoes. Wasn't it being held at the center? And sure enough, that's what it was. Don't you just love my stories? I can't make this stuff up if I tried. So, anyways, I told you guys I would do the opening, the unboxing, which I'd take another sip of my tea after telling that story. Woo. All right. So, for those who are watching on camera, and I'm going to have to explain this. As you see, it's a solid black box. And it says on here, of course, Saint Laurent. So, and then it has the pricing on the side, and it has the sale price and the regular price. Because, like I said before, I don't pay full price for designer stuff. Like 95% of the time. I refuse to pay full price for anything designer. So you will see the price right here, which is the full price, which is $695 for the shoes. Then you will see the sale price, $347 for the shoes. That's what I paid, plus tax, which it was like $370 or something like that. All right. So now you have the shoes. For those listening to the podcast I'm describing, you have pretty much plasticky black stuff. I like my other ones. My other shoes that I bought, my shoes is Lanvin. Though Lanvin, for those who are wondering how to spell it. My Lanvin shoes, I like their packaging better. I should have got that box. I should run and go get it and show you the difference. Because I love their color with the Lanvin, as in the box and everything. And it was just nicer, in my opinion. The Saint Laurent, like I said, these shoes, there's nothing ostentatious about these shoes. In their size 14, which I told you, it's hard for me to find shoes in my size. So I was happy. These shoes were meant for me. But you see the stripes and you see the colors of blue and green and red and stuff. And then okay, so this is the right shoe. So on the right-hand side, you see the symbol right here, which is hard to tell with all of the lighting, obviously, because this is white. But it has the Saint Laurent Paris symbol on the side of the shoes. Basically, they're like Converse, and that's what I told you. So it's nothing ostentatious. If you saw me walking in these, you would have to know that you would have to know about fashion in order to catch that these are designer shoes. And that's how I like it. I don't always want the stuff that I wear to just pop out at people where they're like, oh, that must be whoever. And I don't think I have anything that has the name of something. Like, you know how people wear Gucci shirts and they have Gucci all on it and everything else or whatever, where you know what they're wearing. I don't like stuff like that. So anyways, these are the shoes. And yeah. Now, because I told you I would do the unboxing. Oh yeah. And hold on. With this, the holder, and this is the other thing too. With Levant doesn't, they have two separate ones. So, or they have a separate one for each shoe. With this one, with Saint Laurent, this one is like one big bag to put the shoes in. And see, I don't like that. I like that they had them separately for my ones, my shoes with Levant. So yeah. Anyways, that was the unboxing of my shoes. And now I can go ahead and get to this episode. And I can't believe we're already 16 minutes in. And I'm sitting here looking at this. So, okay. Let me get to this. Everyone stands on someone's shoulders. And I know some people are like, okay, Casey, where are you going with this? I'll tell you in a second as soon as I get situated. All right. Everyone stands on someone's shoulders. What I mean by that is that regardless of what your position is, your station or whatever in life, where you're at on any level, whether it's on you're on a level, on a material level, a spiritual level, an emotional level, a mental level, things like that, you're still standing on someone's shoulders. And I know how some people are independent. And some people consider me independent. And I want people to know that this isn't something to discount someone's accomplishments, because your accomplishments are your accomplishments. They're yours. If you worked hard for something to find balance in some area of your life, whether it is materially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, whatever, wherever you found balance in your life and you worked to find that balance, or you're working to find that balance, that's you putting in the work. That is yours. No one can ever take that away from you. I'm talking about acknowledging that there were things that were put in place and happened to get you to where you are. And had those things not been in place, it's a possibility that you may not be there, just like me. I stand on the shoulders of many, 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 many people. As even though some people view me, I gotta take another sip of this and then put some hand sanitizer on because I'm feeling icky for some reason. Hold on. Okay. Even though some people consider me, independent, doing my thing, standing in my, standing in my light, standing in my truth, radiance, whatever you want to call it. I know that my mother played a role. I mentioned that. And my mother and I, we don't always get along and see eye to eye. Part of the reason is because we have a lot of similarities. Because first of all, we're both water signs. But second of all, she's a Scorpio. My rising sign is Aries. Aries and Scorpio, in a lot of Aries is in me. So those two signs, there's really 3 signs that are know-it-all signs. Aries, Scorpio, and Virgo. So, and my mother, with a Scorpio, in their opinion, if that's the way she see it, that's the way it is. And I have that same attitude because, you know, so we have similarities, and we just, when we don't see eye to eye, we don't see eye to eye on things. However, I recognize that I wouldn't have some of that inner strength, some of that fortitude, which is going to be another daily thought on a different day. Because I do want to talk about that. Because that's something that people really need to tap into, especially these days. Because I don't know what some of these people... Let me hush. I digress. Some of that inner strength, some of that fortitude, some of that being willing to march to the beat of my own drum, I'm able to do that because I'm standing on the shoulders of my mother. I'm able to do that because I'm standing on the shoulders of my godmother as well. Because I mentioned before in one of my previous episodes that she taught me self-esteem. Even though I don't talk to her that much anymore because she runs me low sometimes. But I still love her, you know, because I consider her another mother to me. I stand on her shoulders as well. I stand on my father's shoulders because I told you before during the Father's Day episode, my dad is the person who taught me about unconditional love. Because I know my dad loves me unconditionally. And I know how to love unconditionally based off of some of the interactions that I had with him. And me being able to do that, I'm standing on his shoulders. My dad also, even though I have my lazy moments, still taught me about hard work. And I stand on his shoulders when it comes to hard work because my dad has worked very hard. And I believe I told you this, when I was younger, a baby, there was a time when my dad worked 2 full-time jobs. And my mother's a hard worker too, because she was working 2 part-time jobs and in school as well at the same time, obtaining her degree. And the list goes on and on. People who have passed. Mike, who I knew in Durham, North Carolina. I stand on his shoulders because there were things that he taught me, and he was very blunt, Aries. So that he taught me that really some things, and that's the thing about what interactions you have in life. Some stuff with that recall, it will stay with you. And it may not fully marinate and resonate during the first half as you live your life. But as time goes on and you have that recall and you can think about those moments, those interactions that you may have had with someone, and then you think back to the things that they said during those interactions, and you can let that truly resonate, and then that shapes your character of who you are. You're standing on the shoulders of that individual. And that's something to recognize. When it comes to spiritual stuff, my parents were in church every Sunday and sometimes on Wednesday. My goodness. And it was a thing of where, of course, you're going to church, you're recognizing God, but you're also recognizing a higher power, that there's something bigger than you, whether you want to call it God or not. There is an energy within this universe that is on a different level that on a human level cannot be explained. And people can speculate, and people can say certain things and interpret certain things throughout many different religions and many different practices that are not religion affiliated, but still connected to the energy of the universe. However, nobody knows exactly what the true essence of that energy is. They just know it exists, myself included. And my parents, even though, like I said, being in church, the name was God, it was still teaching me that there is something else above, higher than myself. It's just as I continue to evolve, I don't necessarily recognize it as God. Of course, I believe in Jesus because history tells us that Jesus exists. That's a known fact. But that development, finding that balance, part of that journey was due to the interactions that my parents created on a spiritual level for myself, and I am standing on their shoulders due to those interactions they created to develop my sense of spirituality now. So that's what I'm talking about. And even if you want to take it there, even for some of the bad things that have happened to you in your life, where when I was telling you about being battle tested, doing stuff, and battle tested isn't always things that are bad that happen. Battle tested is just you have a situation, you have to find a solution for it, or you find an understanding about it. As you go through life, you're learning things. And even you could take a bad situation and take something positive that you learned from it. You're kind of standing on the shoulders of that situation if a person is affiliated to it, if an individual is affiliated to it. You could take it down that route. It depends on how you want to interpret it. But what I'm saying is, and this is my opinion, and as I say, my opinion is my opinion. My opinion is everyone stands on somebody's shoulders, whether it's one or many. And I don't think people always recognize that you're standing on someone's shoulders, regardless of how successful you may become. And by success, I'm not talking about getting the big house or the nice car or whatever. I'm not talking about just material. As I said before, you can find success in finding comfort spiritually, or comfort mentally, or comfort emotionally, or comfort, what's the health-wise? Where, because you can't say healthily isn't a word, but it would be nice if it was, because it would then all these leaves at the end. But it's still not of your own doing, where it just in the snap of a finger came into being and there was nothing that contributed to it. Of course, all of these things you as an individual have to work for. And when you work for those things and accomplish those things, no one can take that away from you. And this little daily thought isn't to take anything away from anyone's accomplishments on any level that I mentioned. This is just to remind people that throughout that journey, throughout the interactions. And that's why I decided to do this, because I mentioned yesterday about interactions and parents, and how parents can't control every single interaction that their child has, and so on and so forth. About those interactions, when you're going down that journey of life, the people that you interact with, some of those people, through those interactions, you're standing on those people's shoulders, whether you realize it or not, when you're up on a higher platform. And it doesn't hurt to recognize that, be thankful for that, and appreciate that those people, whether they were in your life for 5 seconds, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, or 5 decades, regardless, because some, seasons are different. Some seasons are short, some seasons are long. It can be what it is what it is. Regardless of how long someone was in your life, if an interaction altered your life in a certain way, where if you sit back and think about it, would I have, but don't stay in the past too long. Like I said, it's okay not to look back, meaning don't stay in the past too long. But if you sit back and think about it, would I have developed into this because of this? And what might have happened, but like I said, don't stay there. Don't get hung up on it, because time goes on. It's more of recognizing what was put in front of you to help you to your ascension, to evolving, to being a better human being. So that's what I'm talking about in regards to standing on people's shoulders. So whether it was stuff that happened in your childhood, whether it was stuff that happened when you were a teenager, an adult, whatever, just recognize it. That's all. Everyone stands on somebody's shoulders. So that is my daily thought. And I hope you enjoyed. And for those who are listening, if you want to see the shoe reveal, you'll have to watch the video. But I pretty much described it to you. So yeah, you got it. Love you guys for the support. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. If you're watching this on YouTube or Daily Motion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, followed by the notification bell. Until next time, be blessed.